The nights are getting longer, and a warm evening curled in front of some anime is getting even more attractive every day. Thankfully, Japan is at hand to bring us some new series every 3 months to sate our thirst in animated fun. Not all of these shows they bring are worth tasting, whilst others are hidden feasts, just awaiting someone to taste their delights. Hopefully I can help you find those hidden secrets, as this is the 2017 Autumn Anime Preview, from a different perspective. Well guys, I think it's official. Dynamic Chord officially has competition. Competition on if it's the worst new show this season or not. Seriously, watching the first episode of Irae was one of the most painful half hours I've spent this year. And even though it's technically episode 0, something tells me it's not really going to improve. I wouldn't even hold it against you to skip forward a couple of minutes to the end of this review. I'll be slightly sad, but something credit is forgivable. But yeah, Irae. Irae takes a tried and tested, and at this point completely worn out series of chuny tropes, and drops them firmly into the realm of a Nazi Germany setting, with a complete, what looks to be a lead character who is a complete douchebag. Now, it's not immediately obvious if it does actually happen in Germany. The only clues we have are a highly influenced outfit, the fact he has a German sounding name, and the fact he has a red armband with a non-swastika logo on it. Can't be making it too obvious now, can we guys? And then, all our pretense and dodging the issue go completely out the window, as we jump back to 1939 Germany, and the Führer was nearly assassinated. Because that would be an absolutely terrible thing now, wouldn't it? We finally properly meet our leading man, Reinhard Weidrich. He's interrogating a prisoner, Karl Kraft, a man so evil he is happy to continue selling easy cheese. Wait, wrong Kraft? Whatever. This Kraft is evil for being the catalyst that turns Reinhard to a dark side. Not that he was particularly on the light side anyway. Newsflash. Nazi Germany wasn't a nice place. It did, however, have some cute women, as 3 attractive young women offer to aid him in his mission. It's all sounding quite classic World War II era anime so far, so what about the chuny? Well, how does the insane fight in the skies above Germany, between a person in bandages and chains versus a woman with an eye patch and flowy outfit sound? Meanwhile, the conversation between Reinhard and Karl is going overboard, with the amount of references and terminology left unexplained. It almost feels like they're making up crap to make themselves sound cooler, and to be honest, they probably are. The entire thing comes to a head when Reinhard attacks the 2 fighters, whilst punching his protectors out of the way too. He doesn't bat an eyelid, hurting both friends and foe alike, and he follows Karl onto a giant floating golden palace in the sky. It goes through some sort of wormhole thing. I really couldn't make this up. This anime is so ridiculous that it has to be seen to be believed. I honestly haven't seen much more of a stupid setup to an anime in years, and I watched the first episode of Chronos Ruler. If you wear eye patches over both eyes, and call yourself the Grand Exalted Lord of a Dark Abyss Excelsior, then feel free to watch Irae over at Crunchyroll. Though watching it with eye patches over both eyes is probably recommended. Japanese anime writers really love colons recently. I mean, with the likes of Recreators and ReZero taking the 4, and even the much sidelined Semicolon gets a look in with the likes of Chaos Head. And now, adding to a list of oddly punctuated titles, we have Code Realize. The show itself starts off quite creepily, with someone singing "London Bridge is falling down," or should that really be broken down? I suppose if we're talking about the mechanics of it, then breaking down is much better than falling down, I suppose. No, that really comes back in the episode. Code Realize is set in a steampunk London. I don't know what it is about London that makes it a perfect target for a steampunk setting, but just like last season's fantastic Princess Principal, we again have a London full of factories and cogs. Less crime, and less giant walls segregating the city, at least for now anyway. Soldiers are launching an attack on a mansion. We're not told if they're good guys or bad guys, but I'm guessing the latter, based on the commander's twindly moustache. And the fact that we learned they're attacking a mansion in order to kidnap a beautiful girl residing within, yeah, I'm going to guess they're not the good guys. The soldiers just get just desserts at least, as one of them discovers that the girl has toxic skin and almost burns his entire hand off. Sadly, they get their way and kidnap her. But that just leads us to being introduced to the actual main characters. We are introduced to two people initially. We have a plucky engineer come Tinkerer, Impy. He's a very friendly and all-in-all cheesy guy. There's another guy in a top hat. If I had to pick one of them to be the main character, it'd probably be Impy, but when we learn who the other guy is. His Tuxedo Matt, look, he's Arsène Lupin. Like punctuation, Japan really loves Arsène Lupin recently. Sure, it's not a new trend, but I'd hazard a guess there's more Lupins in anime, even without Lupin III, than there are even Holmeses. Arsène Lupin does what Arsène Lupin does best, and baffles the authorities and steals away what he targets, which this time is a woman that the soldiers have themselves just kidnapped. The rest of the episode sets us up to introduce us to the cast, including a third guy back at their home base. Alongside Impy and Arsène, we also have Dr. Frankenstein. Looking at the anime now, it's very clear to me that we have a beautiful princess for girl in house with three very attractive young men, each based on literary characters. It's another Otome adaptation. But it doesn't feel forced. A lot of the shows these days smack you in the face over and over with a reminder of what they have on offer, be it the protagonist being awakened by a cute little sister, or a parade of pretty boys falling over a female protagonist. It can sometimes be a little too blatant. But there's none of this in Code Realize. It's a type of show I could see myself sitting down and watching, and that's a lot to say about a show from a genre outside of what I would normally watch. And you can watch it yourself too, over at Crunchyroll. I talked earlier about how some fans are put off by computer generated scenes in anime, and how some shows use CG much better than others. Land of the Lustrous is a show that takes us to the extreme. It's a completely CG anime. It really flaunts this a lot straight off the bat, with lots of lingering shots from a high detail and fluidly animated grass. Not normally something worth paying attention to, but with CG, grass becomes an item you can animate and just copy and paste everywhere. Whilst in traditional animated anime, grass is often something avoided as it can either look flat or less detailed. Yep, this is very indeed a CG show. This is emphasised even more when we meet our lead character, Foss. Foss, which is short for phospholite, is a gemstone in a world inhabited only by gender-neutral gemstones, being taken on the shape of humans. Each gemstone takes on the characteristics of its real-life counterpart. Yep, we have ourselves an anthropomorphized androgynous gemstone anime. I suppose it was only a matter of time before someone opened this particular can of worms. Foss, similar to his real-life counterpart, is a very fragile gemstone. On the Mohs scale, he's rated 3.5 in the hardness, and so is liable to chip very easily, and as such isn't destined to be a fighter. What are they fighting? Why are they fighting? That's something we hear little about in this episode, but they appear to be fighting off what they call moon dwellers, beings that reach into their world and try to capture gemstones to be used in decorations. So basically the gems don't want to be cut up and used up in jewellery. Sounds fair? But it does make us out to be the bad guys, doesn't it? Instead of fighting, Foss is sent to speak to her chief, Congo, and is told he will be given a job at last. And he is. He's to write an encyclopedia. On what? No idea. Foss isn't told that. Not the best way to ask for an encyclopedia to be written now, is it? We also get introduced to a handful of other gem people too. We have Morganite and Goshenite, two 7.5 harness gems, who help defend the world, but a bit too enthusiastic at protecting the place and ends up getting in trouble. We also meet Daya, who I imagine is the hardest of them all. And finally we meet the cool loner, Cinnabar. Cinnabar is an enigmatic one, only ever going out at night patrol, and due to his toxic nature he can permanently destroy parts of our gems by touch. Not surprising given that cinnabar is a mineral which gives us mercury. Really, Land of the Lustrous is a show that I knew nothing about going in. I didn't even know it was CG animated. A lot of people would immediately be put off by the CG animation, but I recommend you actually give it a second look. It's not eye-destroying CG, and the story itself looks quite interesting. Here's hoping that Land of the Lustrous shines as bright like a diamond and doesn't get too tarnished throughout its run. You find its glimmer over Anime Strike in America and High Dive in the UK. Sequels often have tall mountains to climb. If a previous series was a much loved one, it may have been hyped up more, but it could be easily setting itself up for a fall if it doesn't meet expectation. And so then, we have Love Sunshine, second season. A sequel or a spin-off. It really does have a lot to prove this season, especially given how I felt after the first one. Take us back to the very beginning. The original Love Live anime was a light-hearted anime about a group of school friends who form an idol group in an effort to save their school. It's a plotline which is predictable as anything, but the predictability of a plot isn't what matters with a show like Love Live. It's all about singing and all about dancing. It's an all singing, dancing extravaganza, which is more about being happy than it is about being believable. The 9 members of Muse are all too individually brilliant, from the overly energetic Honoka to the adorably bratty, idol-obsessed Sundara Nico. The sequel project was rumoured to have happened as the original members of Muse had contracts that were due to expire, and so rather than pay to renew them, they decided to repeat the success with Love Live Sunshine and the new group of girls, Aquas. And to an extent, it worked. People are going out to buy the merchandise and watching the anime. But the series felt so familiar. It wasn't they were trying to recapture the magic of the old Love Live. They were lifting character personalities and plot lines en masse from the original, adding some rural seaside flair and rebadging it. The new lead Chika is a complete copy of Honoka. The nutty comic relief moves from Nico to hopeless tune that is Yohane. They even have their own version of a mysterious and meddling Nozomi in the form of the English dictionary Mari. It all felt a little too familiar, with only slightly less interesting characters. It even goes as far as to say there are more caricatures rather than actual characters. Don't get me wrong, had Love Live Sunshine came first, I would have probably just sat down and enjoyed it, but now it's always going to just be a remake and not a standalone series. The second season starts off with introducing the plot to the series, the threat to the school, and unlike the original Love Live, the school wasn't saved after just one series, so we start again on our journey to rekindle the enthusiasm to try to save the school all over again. Will this season just be a repeat of the first, or will it finally step out of the shadow of its predecessor and stand alone amongst different idol series? And crucially, will I bother watching it enough to get to that point? At this point I couldn't really say. There are good things about the show, but it really does need to improve to be a lot more than just a spin-off. You can find Love Live Sunshine over at Crunchyroll. So, what did you think of today's offering of 4 episodes to be watched? Personally, I think we had a middle-of-the-road affair, with just one of these series being unwatchable, but the other 3 being worth a look, even if they aren't instant winners. I always ask, let me know in the comments what you thought of these shows today. Did you like them? Did you hate them? Let me know, I want to know what you think. But as ever, thank you very much for watching, have a wonderful day, bye bye.